Today on Homebrew Terrain, I'm going to take this toilet paper roll and this cardboard box, and I'm going to make a set of stairs. Today on Homebrew Terrain. Here comes the intro music. Yay for intro music.
Hey, my name is Aaron, and welcome to Homebrew Terrain.
I went to the store and I finally broke down and bought myself a protractor and a compass because it makes life a bajillion times easier, and you're really going to need one to do what we're going to do today, and probably for a lot of the projects that I'm going to use in the future. So I was like, you know what, forget, I'm just going to get one. I know, I know. So we're going to use this today. And I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm going to take my cardboard box. But the first thing we have to do here is we have to, of course, break down the cardboard box. And we've talked about this before, where, you know, you find the glued edge and you just very gently and very carefully, you know, pull it apart like that. See how easy that is. And then, of course, we remove the lovely tape. That is the plague of our existence here in the terrain building world. So we take the tape off. So I'm going to take the tape off of here, and I'm going to get the box all cut into flat pieces. Okay, so after you're done cutting up your box, it's going to look something like this. Obviously, you've got a bunch of these little cardboard flats that we're going to use. So what we do here, it's really simple. We take the biggest flat we can get out of this thing, which is usually something like this, and that's just fine. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this toilet paper roll here and remove the excess toilet paper. But you know what we're going to do? We're not going to throw this stuff away. We're actually going to hold on to this because we're going to be using this here in the next video. And you're going to be like, what? Yeah, because somebody said to me something about cardboard stuff is really, really great for, you know, dealing with buildings and solid structures like that. But it's not really very good for organic things like, you know, Sylvaneth Wildwoods. To with which I say, oh no. It is on. So after this, I will show you how to do Sylvaneth Wildwoods, because I can. Okay, so this is a little flappy thingy sticking out. Sometimes it's on the inside too, but this one's just there. So you throw a little bit of Elmer's glue onto that, and you just kind of pinch that down and let it dry. Because you're going to want this to be in as good a solid state as you possibly can. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this bad monster here, we're going to put it onto this side here, and we're going to set it right here on the very edge. You want to put it here because we're going to be using the stuff on this way. I can't, the camera's backwards. Alright, so you're going to use the stuff on this side and not so much on this side, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a minute. So then I'm going to take my lovely pen here, and I'm going to go ahead and just trace around the cardboard paper, whatever this thing is. I'm going to go ahead and trace around the toilet paper roll. Get myself a lovely little circle going on here. There. Now I have a lovely little circle. Great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the protractor. Ooh, that's the protractor. Okay, and then I'm going to take the protractor and I'm going to measure this bad boy. Because I deal with toilet paper rolls quite a bit, I know that they're 2 inches. So if you measure this from like the circle here, you're gonna see that it's exactly 2 inches across in the diameter, because that's just how toilet paper rolls are. Is because I know that it's 2 inches across, I'm gonna find that 2 inches mark right here, and I'm gonna give me the center point. Getting the center point of this thing is pretty important because it's going to affect the stairs and everything in it. Meh. As they say in Ordnance, close enough. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure some stuff here. Now, like I told you before, I do like to use my rulers and protractors and what have you, but more importantly, I like to use my models. And since I know that this is going to be a staircase for the Daughters of Cain Temple, and yes, my model's not painted, so there you go, ogle at it, look at it, go, yeah, wow, that's really badly painted. Well, it's not done yet, okay? So just stop judging me. Anyway, so this is what it's going to look like when we're done, by the way, and it's going to look something very similar to this Cauldron of Blood that I'm working on. But anyway, because of that, I want my Daughters of Cain to be the measuring device for this particular staircase. So because of that, I know that what I've got here is my standard witch elf, right? And she's got that, I believe this is a 25mm base, which is important because that's going to measure out the circle that I'm going to put around there. And then I want to be able to put this also on the stairs. And of course, she's going to be a little bit bigger. She's got the 50mm base. Here is I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm going to put it right there. And this is really important because not only do I have a measurement for the stairs going this way, as far as I know how far out they need to be. Left-handed. Not only do I know how far out they need to be, but I also have an idea of the width as it goes out. So you'll see what I mean here in just a second. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by measuring a single base like this. I'm going to just draw it around here in a little circle. Now the question you're going to ask me here is, does this actually have to be a witch elf, or can it be anything on a 25mm base? To with which I say yes, it has to be a witch elf. You're not allowed to use anything else, ever. No, that shouldn't even be a question, and you're a terrible person for asking it. Okay, the next thing here is you're going to take this lovely Medusa thing, whatever they're called. I forget the name off the top of my head. I know, I'm a fantastic Daughters of Cain player. Shut up. So then I'm going to take that and draw this little circle right here. And does this have to be a Medusa thing without any filthy? Yeah, that 50mm base work. And of course, with which I answer by saying, you're a terrible person for asking that question. Of course, it has to be this and nothing else. Nothing. And there you go. That's the most accurate circle anyone's ever drawn. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this little lovely monster and we're going to stick it right here in the center of this circle. Just punch that bad boy right down inside there like that. And then we're going to take the pencil and we're going to create this this lovely little arc that comes to right here. Now, as if you wanted to look at this very carefully, you would see that this is actually going to be a 2-inch gap from the center. There we go. And there's my compassing skills. And then we're going to jump out to here and do this one. You have my permission to be impressed. So far, I just screwed that up. Let's try that again. There. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've got these two marked out, what we're going to do is we're going to come widthwise. Aha! And this was the key right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump onto here like this, and we're going to mark it down. We're going to mark it like this. And then from here, we're going to go... And we'll make a mark here like this. You probably can't see it because my big fat hand is in the way. So what I do is I mark that right there. And we're going to take this one here and put it there. And then mark this here. Again, my big fat hand is in the way. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this backwards. Shut up. Okay, I'm gonna mark it like this. So then I have these lines here. And I'm gonna come to here, and I'm gonna go like this. Now you're gonna need 5 of these steps. So I'm gonna have to make, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so you may end up having to do this on a different one entirely. But the coolest thing that you can do here, and this is really, really cool. Okay, so right here, Now, as you can see, because everything is like so easy to see on this. All right, so what you're gonna do here, I'm terrible at this. So this right here is, we're gonna cut this out, and we're gonna cut this out and this out, and then these need to be exactly the same all the way. So I really only need one. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna flush this bad boy out. Like these. And now, I'm going to use a very high-tech piece of equipment here to cut them out. And I want to be using my hobby knife here and not my scissors, because I'm going to use this as a template on all the rest of this. And it's going to be awesome. You watch, you'll see. It'll be so cool, you'll be amazed. You'll be like, oh my goodness, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. See, and I want to be rough with this because I'm going to use the rest of this piece. So I got to be a little bit on the genteel side here. Always that little bit that doesn't want to cut. Jeez. Okay. So now that I've got this lovely piece, it doesn't make any difference whether I do it this way or whether I do it this way. It should be exactly the same on both sides. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and use this as the template to do the rest of my stairs. So like this. There. And then we can come to here. And as long as everything's all lining up, which it looks like it's lining up so prettyful. It looks like we can almost do one more. 4, so we need to do 5, and this is going to get cut off here. So that's going to be issue-matic, which means that we're going to need one of those smaller pieces that we used before. And oh, look at this. We could just cut a piece right out of this. Blam. How awesome sauce is that, right? I know you're impressed. You have my permission to be impressed. Okay. And now, the cutting shall commence. See this little circly piece right here? We don't want to lose this. We're going to cut this bad monster out and we're going to glue it into the top. Just because we can. And we already know that it fits. And there we have it. 5 stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Then we can finish trimming this bad guy out. Like so. And then we take this toilet paper roll here, and then you can just stick this right down inside there. And it's, you know, it's not going to be perfect because we actually drew it on the outside and not the inside. So you can just kind of wedge it in there like this. Use the back of your knife here to entice it to behave. And it'll look something like that. Take a little bit of hot glue. Yes, that's very hot. Don't get rid of the hot glue just yet, because now we're going to put the stairs on. 1 stair at a time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get our protractor. Okay, and we know we have 5 of these guys here. What we're going to do here, we're going to mark this on the inch right here. So we're going to go up to this here and mark an inch. And then we're going to mark an inch. And then we're going to mark an inch. And then there's the top. So like that. That's good enough. Now we take the first step, which is actually, you know, not the first step. Never mind. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and glue this back. Okay. Just like that. I'm gonna take a slab of cardboard like this, and I know these guys right here are, so these are gonna be like 2 1/4 inches. So we're gonna take these right here, 2 1/4, 2 and 75, 2 and some change. It's gonna be 2 and some change. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark 1 inch on this guy. And we know these guys are 1 inch apart as far as the stairs are concerned. And we also know that they're 2 and some change. And then we'll use those as templates for the rest. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take this guy and we're going to put it right here, like this. I hold it the other way and use my left hand so the camera can see it. And there we have it. Ta-da! Like that. Are you with me on that? Okay, good. I'm glad to see we're all paying attention. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay down a bead of hot glue. Let it cool. It's very important when you're dealing with hot glue is to let it cool, because inevitably, if it's super hot, you're gonna come in here and you're gonna burn yourself. I burn myself all the time. Don't be like me. Okay. Then the next one. So we come to the next little house on the square, and we glue this again with the light right hand. Then we're gonna take the next one. I'm gonna glue that like that. This one's very drippy. I think I used too much glue on this one. Which is alright in my particular case, because again, Daughters of Cain, you know, this will all just end up being blood and stuff anyway. And there we have the next step. Yeah, then we get a glue stick ready, because we're going to run out here in a minute. And yeah, that. Okay, so the next step is to do it again. And we'll just keep repeating them. I'm going to glue this guy right here. How cool is that? And the reason we did the lines early is so that I know where to stop gluing, because I know this is only going to be 1 inch. And you want to try to get the these pieces here to be as perpendicular as possible to this, because yeah, that way it keeps the stairs nice and level, because then you don't have wobbly model syndrome. So far, this is what we have. Yay! And then again, just continue to repeat the process. I know you're impressed already. Okay, next step. Same old, same old. See again, with the line right here, so we drew those lines. Remember we drew the lines before? This is why we drew them. So that I can come in here and I can make this bead along in here, like this. And then when I go the bead straight up, I can just do it like that. And I know that I'm gonna be pretty close to the mark. So I come into here and I put that right under there like this. Hot glue. Hot glue's hot. So we have 2 more to go. The cut on this one wasn't very good, so I'm having to kind of play around with the hot glue to fill in the gap. I don't know what happened to this one. This one's a little embarrassing. We'll have to come back and trim this one up because it's not seating very properly in here and it's a little bit too long for some reason. I guess I didn't trim it properly along in here. So you'll see me monkeying with that later. Draw the bead out and draw the bead up. Yeehaw. Now, I should have taken this into account for measurement when I first started, and it's probably something I should have warned you about before we started. But remember how we made everything an inch apart? And so these are all 1 inch on these brackets here. So it goes, you know, 1 inch, whatever it is, and then it's an inch up, and then whatever it is, an inch up, and whatever it is. But you'll notice that it comes out here, and it's actually too tall. Well, the reason for that is because you actually started on top of this flat piece here. So technically speaking, this piece should have been this much less than an inch. And each one of them should have been that much less than an inch. And so, and in fact, when you get up to the top here, this one would be perfect. But right now, as you can see, it is not perfect. So what we're gonna do here is something called cheating. Because you know what? You do that when you're lazy. And I knew that this was gonna happen because I'm lazy. So what I'm gonna do here, because I knew that it was gonna end up doing this, is I'm just gonna throw the protractor on here, stripe the line across, and I'm gonna take my hobby knife here and I'm going to cut it out. So I'm just gonna go across it like this. There we go. So I have a little mark on there, and now I'm gonna take my hobby knife. You can use scissors too if you want to get crazy on it. I never do, because I'm not like that. And I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna start in the middle, and I'm gonna work my way out. Because if you start on the either ends, it's gonna tear with the hobby knife. Because I guarantee you by now your hobby knife is very, very dull. Unless you change the blades like regularly. So be really careful when you get to this end piece here. Doesn't like to cut very well. Especially because there's probably going to be some hot glue on it. I'm going to come to here. What do you do with a pen in your hand? Okay, running down, underground. Madman with a pen in his hand. I think you're mad, too unstable. Kicking in chairs, knocking down tables. In a restaurant. In a West End town. Call the police. There's an American around. Okay. This is where we usually burn the crap out of ourselves, because why wouldn't we? Here comes the burn. Oh yeah. Love the burn. Need the burn. Don't be like that. Okay. Now we could have done that much more accurately if we'd wanted to. We could have, you know, pulled up like the microns and all the cool little gizmos that allow you to figure out exactly how far everything's going to be and blah, blah, blah. But who wants to do that? So we're just going to do it my way because I'm lazy. And there we have it. As the stairs are almost completed. What we're going to do now is we're going to build a little piece that comes down. It comes down here. Ta-da! And then we're going to have a piece that wraps around the outside. Because you don't want to have it just kind of hanging. That's weird, right? Who does that? Unless, of course, you wanted to do something different with it, like, you know, run some weird stuff off of it or something. But that's, for the most part, that's all there is to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going on. Oh yes, one more thing that I like to do, because I'm just cool like that, I like to come back through on the backside underneath it. No one's going to see this because this is going to be completely blocked off. So I'm going to hot glue stuff And that'll add to the structural integritization, because that's a word, integritization. Yeah. And this doesn't have to be pretty at all, because no one's ever going to see this, you know? Unless, of course, you put it on your piece backwards and upside down, which means then everyone's going to see it because you screwed it up. You know, which can happen. Now what we do is we bust out the ruler and we start measuring, because we're going to put a piece that goes from here to here, like this. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. There's the right way to do it, and then there's the way I do it. So we take a piece like this, and we just stick it up against there, and then just cut it, because, I mean, that's really all that's going to happen, right? So I'm going to stick this like this. Just try to keep it as lined up as I possibly can here. And I'm going to go like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the only line you really need. And then just to make it look like I actually am being authentic here, I'm going to make this a solid line. And then we'll come to here. See, how long is that line, by the way? That should be, some change, yep. Okay, so then we're going to come to here. Nah, forget that. Alright, so we're going to come to here and go. I mean, this seems close enough, right? What do you think over there in the back? Huh? Yeah. There you go. Pretty. I like it. So from here, I'll trim a little bit of that off. Did I brand myself again? I guess I did. Okay. Cut this out. And then we cut this out. Or out for all you Canadians. Oot. Oot. I don't even know. Out and oot. Oot note. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to glue it up like that. See how that works? I can put it right in the camera. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and glue it up just like that. I'm going to run a bead of hot glue here and a bead of hot glue here, and we're going to call it a good thing. So the easiest way to do it, of course, is to put it on the actual piece you're going to glue, because then you know exactly where the glue needs to go. And voila. So now we're gonna wrap some stairs around here, huh? That's gonna be exciting. Okie dokie. Artichoke. Who says that anyway? That just sounds stupid. Okay, so now we've got the stairs, and they're pretty much all built here. All we need now is to put a piece that backs across this. So we're going to take this piece of cardboard here. This is one of the bigger flats that I had. And I'm going to basically do what I did before. I'm going to stick it here and then glue it in place. And then because I made sure that the striations of the cardboard are going this way, I'm literally going to wrap it around the outside of the thing like that. So this is how I'm going to do it. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create a 90-degree angle. So this is an important one here. This is going to be a 90, right? So it's going to want to look like it's going to curve, but you don't want it to. You want to create that 90-degree angle. Ignore the curve for now. Okay, so when you look underneath here, you'll see that I created this sort of 90-degree angle. And you'll also see that it kind of butts up against the first step there. So I'm going to go through with the hot glue, and I'm going to reinforce this on the inside, and I'm going to reinforce where it touches with the hot glue right here. That way, it's not going to be, it's going to be underneath and no one's ever going to see it. So that's the cool part, and it'll help create a structural integrity because the rest of this is going to get wrapped around as it goes around this piece here. Are you with me? All right, good. Follow along. Follow. Must have glue. Okay, here we go. So now I've administered the goopy glue inside there, and I'm waiting for it to cool. Once this bad monster cools enough, I'm going to start wrapping it around. We'll see that here in just a second. Still not cooled down enough. Nope, still not cooled down enough. Ow. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come to the edge where each step is, and I'm going to pinch it like right along in here. I'm going to pinch this piece and force it to bend on that moment, and somewhere in the middle like that. So it's going to bend like that. And then I'm going to use the rest of my hand here and then find the next mark and then just pinch it there and force that, and then there and that. And unfortunately, there wasn't quite enough. That's right. Nobody has to know. And there we have it. See how I'm bending it like this? Alright. Bending. So now what I'm going to do, now that it's all bendied, boom, like this, I'm going to come to here on the top step, and I'm going to come up from the underneath. And then we just sit here for an hour while this cools. And I like to come back through here on the back side where no one's going to see, and then to add more hot glue because it adds more structural integrity. Yeah, structural integrity. I mean, you have to do that if you don't want to, if you're like really cheapy on the hot glue. I mean, that is probably the most expensive thing that we use here on Homebrew Terrain is the hot glue. It's like $5 for a pack of 100 of these things, and I'll go through, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them for sure in any particular project that I'm using. It's one of my favorite things to work with when you're dealing with cardboard. So yeah, there you go, hot glue. Now in my particular case, I actually ran out of cardboard just right here on this little piece. So what I'm going to do here is just take a little piece and stick it in there, you know, just like that. And hopefully no one will really notice. So yeah, that. And again, coming in on the back side. And now, we're almost completely done. All we have to do now is come back with the hobby knife. And then we're gonna cut out the length of stairs. Because I like mine to be open faced. Now if you want to put this inside of a castle or something, this is totally fine. And then you can use this piece here to kind of buttress up against something else, and then this will be the railing on the inside, and you can add fleur and delice and whatever you want on there. But I don't care, because that's not what I want to do. I want to have an open faced stairwell because I'm going to use it for a specific thing. So let's get to knifing, shall we? I said knifing. Okay, so now that the glue is all nice and dry and we have a sturdy set here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hobby knife and we're just going to use it to carefully, and I mean carefully, just cut the tops off here. And again, you could leave these on and do all kinds of cool stuff with them, but for me in particular, I would like to have this to be open-faced because again, I'm doing something with it. Oh, something I am. And if you would like to do that something also, then stay on my channel, because we'll be doing that something together here on Homebrew Terrain. And there you have it. A set of stairs fit for the Hag Queens of Naggaroth. I said Hag Queens. So yeah, you can take your little models here and you can put her at the top of it. Look at that. There's pretty cool beams there, right? Right? Okay, and she can actually fit on all the stairs, right? And it's important to be able to have models that fit on the stairs because otherwise, you know, you get really cool stairs, but they don't work because some models can fit on them and some can't. But now you got her, she can go all the way to the end there, and you can put more than one on there. And having more than one witch elf on a set of stairs is really important because, you know, they fight really well in groups and not really well by themselves. So yeah, and you can even put your Kinneri on here, which is very cool. Because they have little spears and they can pew at people. So, you know, you got your bad guy down here, and your Kinneri can land here and go pew, and then anyway. So there you have it. There's the finished stairs, and I hope you enjoyed yourself here today on Homebrew Terrain. Stick with me on my next video here, and I'll show you how to connect this to a lovely platform and put on a cauldron of blood. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed yourself here on Homebrew Terrain.